Join internationally acclaimed overland expert Paul Marsh and award-winning journalist Gregory Simpson as they delve into all things responsible overlanding. From choosing the right vehicle, getting yourself prepared, getting your vehicle prepared, safety tips, and much, much more. Only on Responsible Overlanding.
So I've got a double cab here. Now this is not a popular one because it runs a 4.2 six-cylinder diesel engine, the 1HZ, the famous old 1HZ. And a lot of the hire companies use this motor. And I encourage most people who are going to drive right up into Africa to use it as well, because it is a very simple basic motor. It has no electronics, a bit of electronics on the pump, but nothing significant on the actual motor itself. And it means it can take bad fuel. And that's one of the things you are going to come across when you go further north in Africa. You know, you pick up fuel and it's been mixed with paraffin, or there's water in the tanks, or there's dirt. We do put better fuel filters in for sure. But having a simple motor means that it's a lot less problematic. And you also find that up in Africa, these motors and these trucks are used by a lot of different agencies up there. Aid agencies, safari companies, lodges. So you are going to find spares, you are going to find help, and most importantly, you're going to find the knowledge up there. So that's really important for me. In South Africa, these trucks are mostly used for hire and for people on lodges and safaris. Mining, not in South Africa. I mean, the mining in Australia drive a lot of development on the Land Cruisers and Toyotas, because it is a big sector in Australia and they have a vast amount of vehicles that are used there. And of course they put to the test. I mean, if you're going to test a vehicle, give it to a hire company or give it to the mines, because both a great way to test product. Fantastic innovation comes out of those sectors of the market, and we all benefit from it. You know, the guys who test the product come back and go, this is the weakness of it, this is how it's going to last when it's abused. And that's what we want. You know, then when you get your product and you look after it, it's going to last a lifetime if you look after it properly. So this truck, I'm going to take you around. It's the start of a big project. We normally take a truck like this, and the first process starts with sorting out the back tub, the load tub. So come with me and I'll show you what's there. So what you're going to see here is a rubberized load tub. Now what we like to do in South Africa, we don't get the flat trays like you do in Australia, and I love that concept because you've got a lot of option. But we take the actual load tray. There's a second skin that's put in here, because when it comes from Toyota, there's nothing between the side here, so there's a second skin of steel that gets fitted here. And then we cut out the brackets that you fit the spare wheel, and we pre-seal all these areas, especially between all the ribs here, especially in the corners here, and all the areas here. There's one area here we keep free up so we can actually get cables and that through. But the rest we seal up, and we seal up everything on the back here, so that when we put the canopy on, we're trying to make this as dust-proof as possible. And you can achieve a really good seal, you know, if the canopy doors are properly adjusted. And for these vehicles, we use a full door at the back. Some people use top and bottom tailgate. It works. It's just a question of what suits you. And for this particular company, it's all full doors on the back. So it's an aluminium canopy with 2 access doors, one either side and one on the back. Now, a vehicle like this gives you a lot of option to get inside the back. So really I'm talking about access, and that's key. That's really key. If you're taking a truck like this and you're building it for 4 people, storage is always going to be a bit of a challenge, but you can make it work. For 2, you've got a lot of option, because you can take the back seat out and you can use that space and move some of the heavy weight into the middle area. Because that's the challenge in these trucks, and that's what I've always found. They carry the weight, they sort of sit a bit heavy at the back, and I find it much better. On this design, we do put a steel bumper on the back. We do end up putting 2 spare wheels on the back, or at least 1, and some people carry just a carcass of a tire, because I always recommend taking 2 wheels when you're going on expedition, 2 spares, even if you take 1 spare rim. And you save on a rim. You know, the important part is you've got a spare tire, and when your spare is used. So this is the start process. From here, the canopy will get fitted to the vehicle, nicely sealed up and fitted on, and then the interior gets built up. And this will be a simple system. This is going to have a drawer system in, a fridge in the back, some lighting, water tank, nothing too complex. Unlike some of the other vehicles we build where there's a big customization in the back and opening up and you've got access to tools and we often put the batteries here because that allows us to move, although it is a bit of weight at the back here. I'm very reluctant to have the weight in the front under the bonnet. I found that putting extra batteries under the bonnet in time can crack the wings up, the inner wings, depending on what bad roads you drive on. So if we can reduce that and we can utilize our space where you can access everything you need, and drawer systems out the back allow you to have a kitchen at the back, cooking here, and then from the side here, this is very much where we would put the fridge. Now, I like to have the fridge low down. I'm not a great fan of these fridge slides that slide down and drop down. It's not to say they don't work. They do work in some scenarios very well, especially when you're trying to fit a fridge and drawers in the back of a, let's say, a Land Cruiser 105 or 80 or 100 series. Then you're pulling the fridge out and it's dropping down. But if you don't have to do that and you can save that weight, then save the weight. It's really important to be mindful of everything you add to the truck. How heavy is it going to be? Can you make a piece of equipment do two jobs? Because if that way it's going to, the shovel you take, can it dig you out and can it be used around the campfire? Because the more you can do that with kit, it's my little philosophy of take less kit and more experience and more knowledge serves you well. So go out there and start your driving where you are selecting the right kit so you're safe. You've got the kit to get yourself out of trouble, so some spares, repair kit, recovery kit, tool kit. But take what you need. People take tool kits which are massive and half the tools you don't need. So that's going to be important to select all that correctly.
Reliability of the fridge sliders, do you see them failing under stress?
Look, anything can fail. Anything can fail when it's abused. I think a lot of the failures that happen with equipment is because people don't always maintain it, for one. Products do work loose, and vibration and movement is going to damage any product. So once something comes a little bit loose, the movement is accentuated and then damage sets in. So it's really unfair to be blaming manufacturers all the time when some of the responsibility should come onto the person who's driving the car and owning the car. And I think if you take that balance, you'll actually get a much better life out of your product. Yes, things can break, things can fall apart. Some of the roads are horrendous, people don't always lower their tire pressures. So you're putting a massive amount of vibration and stress through the vehicle. And any vibration and stress from bad roads is going to put a lot of wear and tear on any equipment you've got in the car. And if gear isn't tied down, it takes a lot of abuse. So it is that nice balance of actually going, I've got to look after my car. How can I reduce the vibration and stress and the hard driving conditions, which I don't really want for myself? We forget that vibration and stress not only hammers the vehicle, it hammers your back and the seat. And years later you realize that your back's taking a pounding. And a lot of people in our industry, as we get older we suffer from back problems. And that's important to make sure that also gets looked after.
Good seats, right tire pressure, good suspension.
Good suspension counts a lot, tire pressures, and also how you drive the vehicle. That counts. If you're gonna hell for leather on bad roads, you can damage shocks, you can break a lot of stuff. So it counts.
And in terms of spare wheels, do you favor putting them on the back?
If I had a choice and we could take the spare wheels off here and lengthen this car, sort of what Andrew did, by about 300 mil, and you could pop the two spare wheels here and do away with a heavy steel bumper and just have a good recovery point and two jacking points on the back, I think that would be fantastic. Because really on these vehicles you're trying to move weight forward. So with, if anything, you don't want to lose your load space. And the double cab gives you a very nice usable area because for two people you've got access behind the seats. So you can put a camera box. We quite often put the fridge, if it's just two people, inside the cab. So you've got access through the door here. So you can open this door and here's your fridge. So that works really well. And I'm going to show you a vehicle we're building which is a 105 series. And the whole idea is can I get access? So when you're camping, you must think about how you camp when you're stopping for camping. When you stop and you need to get something or you want to have a coffee break, open the fridge, get the milk out. If you're opening a canopy, jet boil, 2 cups, milk, Or you've got your fridge here, open up the canopy, you've got your fridge, you know that, and you get the idea. It's basically, you visualize yourself using it. It's the things that come out first are normally your chairs and your table. And I watch people, and they're setting up their camp, and it takes, the trailer's getting set up, and the camp's getting set up, and the chairs are buried, and the bags come out, and the boxes come out. And then you watch the folk who've done it for a while. The chairs come out, the table comes out, the gin and tonics get poured, and they relax.
And with it, before 10 minutes is over, they're sipping the first
exactly. And I think that's the difference. That's the difference. And I think, for us, it really is about, you're going to enjoy this. This is about taking your life and being simple in the bush. A simple existence, but make it easy for yourself, because when you make it tough and it's really hard work to get in and out of the vehicle, it becomes frustrating. So I'm a great advocate of looking at where you're going to put stuff. Everything needs to have its place, and when everything's got its place, you can find it for one. So a good example of that is you have a wheel that's got a problem, a spare wheel. Okay, so here's your wheel, and you now need to go and you need to change it. And then you start looking for the jack, and you're looking for the tools to get the wheel off, and warning triangles and the high-vis vest. So all that needs to be put together. And when that's all together, you're actually able to go and access it, take it out, one bag, change your wheel, put it back in place, and you're done. So it's things like that. It's that mindset of everything has its place for a good reason.
All those sort of the silver-haired foxes, where would you put the wheel for the easiest possible changing position?
Look, I think for anyone, it's never easy to take a wheel on and off, especially if you've got a back problem. So on the back, where you're going to need to take it on and off, that's probably still the easiest place. On a wheel carrier, if it was positioned in here, you'd have to roll it out and drop it down. Not so easy to put one back. But where have you stopped on your trip where you haven't been able to muster up some help? Very few places. So when people say that that's a problem, I go, you may have to just pay someone a little kindness in some way, and go, please just help me with this. So I don't see that as a major trouble. People are out there, and it's a nice way to engage with people. And often if someone's stuck us, we were on a trip, Andrew and I on a trip a little while ago, and guys, they were stuck. It was a mission vehicle, it was a troop carrier, and they had a flat tire, and of course they didn't have a spare. So we stopped, we plugged their wheel, and as they were jacking it up, the jack broke. And I literally took a brand new jack and I went and gave them the jack, because these guys in the middle of nowhere, they had no spare. Now we plugged their spare, we fixed the other one, and they needed to go a long distance still. So it's really about that engagement with people, and I think that's often lost. One of the reasons we travel is not just to see the areas, it's actually to connect with the people. And sometimes the best experiences I've had with some of the people I've taken on an expedition is connecting in a workshop when you're with the guys, helping fix your car, and you're all involved, and you all sit down and share a coffee, or you have some lunch together. This is real. This is what it's about. And these guys are there helping you, and that's half the fun.
That's almost as real as it gets.
Yeah, it is. Well, exactly. It's real. You might be in a high-flying job where your lifestyle doesn't take you to that experience, should we put it like that. And it's a very humbling experience. And I'd say, if anything, Africa really humbles me with people who have sometimes nothing but incredible happiness and incredible kindness. And if I can take that, that's hugely, and I have, that's for me.
So it just shows you happiness doesn't start with a big check.
Not.